Okay, I want to watch this because I was gonna do some like I was gonna do like a Roblox horror game, but I couldn't find a good horror game, so I was like, fuck it, we're just gonna watch something scary. So this is the voices submitted by EBT, but the video is the most disturbing encounters in the woods by Mr. Nightmare. Let's get scared. Intro.
Yeah, like a magician, how I make it disappear. Bitch, I'm aiming for the top, we going viral all year. Spread the word to the people, I ain't here to spread fear. Shedding blood in these streets, that's a whole lot of tears.
Alright.
In 2014, a man named Ethan and his wife Danny were spending a weekend together on Vancouver Island, which they had done many times before. The couple has a lot of experience on the island and just camping in general. Vancouver Island provides an optimal camping setting because of its mix of scenic beaches and dense forest. The couple had many successful camping trips on the island, until something truly terrifying happened to them on their final outing on the island. Ethan and Danny were far from any roads or civilization, enjoying the solitude. They set up camp on a beach a good distance from anywhere and kept a fire going. To get to the trail leaving the beach was a kilometer along the beach and 2 kilometers to the road through the forest. The couple had met another camper named Leon from New Zealand, who they ran into earlier that day on the beach. Leon was planning on sleeping in his van, which he parked back up on the road. The couple invited...
I'm only a minute in, I already lost the plot. Didn't they say that they were on an island? How did bro get here in a van? Am I lost?
Invited him down to the beach for a fire, and the three shared a bottle of wine, talking amongst themselves around the fire. This is where things started to get a little creepy. The sun was starting to go down by this point, and the trio kept hearing what sounded like female voices from behind them in the bushes dividing the beach from the forest. It wasn't too dark out yet though, so it was still possible that they were just other hikers or campers nearby, or even a group who anchored offshore and the sound was just bouncing in a weird way. All three of them could agree that they were hearing female voices though. On that note, it was getting late and a little dark, so Leon said goodbye and set out to hike back to his car before it was too dark. Ethan and Danny stayed by their campsite and stoked the fire because Danny was starting to get creeped out by the voices, which continued on into the darkness.
You were starting to get creeped out by the voices? I don't know about y'all, but the moment I'm sitting in pitch black darkness and hear nothing but voices around me, I'm already preparing to shit myself. Like, it's already moving down. Like, there was no beginning, starting, getting there. I'm there. I'm there.
It sounded like 2 female voices speaking, but whatever that was being said was unintelligible. It sounded to the couple like the voices were not far beyond the tree line now. They stayed up very late tending to the fire, and only when the voices had finally stopped, they decided to put out the fire and go to sleep in the tent. Before doing so, the two had scanned the cove with a flashlight several times looking for boats that could have been the source of the talking, but there was nothing in sight. It was around 3 a.m. when they laid down finally, ready to catch some shut-eye. But about 15 minutes after they laid down, Ethan and Danny heard footsteps in the area around their campsite, over by where the fire was. They came from the direction of the bushes toward the inland behind them, a direction that was not traversable by people. The couple lay there, hoping it was just a bear or any animal, because the only...
You know how bad your situation is if you're hoping it's a bear? If you're hoping that it's a bear, then the alternative? Yeah, I would never camp again.
The only bears on the island are black bears, which usually are very timid around people. The footsteps went from the fire, then over to the tent, then back into the woods. 5 minutes later, the footsteps came back again to the fire, and now, clear as day, there were 2 female voices talking gibberish very loudly. Their communication was not resembling any languages known to Ethan or Danny, and they seemed to be talking over each other, having what could barely be...
Okay, to be fair though, what does that really mean, you know? Are Ethan and Danny like languageologists, you know? Do they know every language in the world? Because I don't even know what it, if I heard something like, I don't know, I don't if I heard like Chinese, I don't even know if I could like be like, oh yeah, that's Chinese, you know?
Considered to be a conversation
Maybe
at
just,
full volume in the dead of night,
language.
very far away from civilization, without using lights to navigate through the dense brush, relatively quietly in a direction that seemed impossible to traverse on foot, The two voices moved from the fire pit area over to the tent, still talking at a loud volume. They stood over the tent talking for a few seconds, then went completely dead as night silent. They went back into the woods to never be seen or heard again. Ethan and Danny lay there completely frozen and afraid for a long time. They woke up around 11 a.m. the next day because of how late they fell asleep. They packed up first thing and never returned. The couple probably made the best decision to remain quiet in the tent, not drawing attention to themselves from whoever or whatever was outside the tent.
Man, my dumbass would have got curious and started peeking. Now I know why they made Curious George a monkey. I didn't say that.
The following pictures you're about to see were
Now, what could truly go wrong here? This is suburbs plus. Like, you got your normal suburbs, and then you got this. How you know you're in a good suburb, right? The house are a good distance apart, and the street is wide as hell. If you can ride like 2 cars right next to each other down the street, you're probably living in the super suburbs.
taken by hikers Kylie Cashwell and John Stone, who both live in Eagle Mountain, Utah, a small town south of Salt Lake City. For the past few years, they had been exploring forests in search of interesting things, and one day they found it. One day Kylie was hiking in Cedar Fort, just 5 miles south of Salt Lake City. While hiking, she found large amounts of animal bones and piles of junk people had dumped.
Okay.
Things started to get strange when she started coming across strange symbols and animal parts scattered throughout the forest, some of them in weird formations. On September 15th, she decided to bring her friend Josh along with her to show him in person the unusual things she was finding. This time, the two came across something even more disturbing. On the trail, there was a severed deer head and a pentagram surrounding.
You can show that on YouTube? You can put that on YouTube? Damn.
Surrounded by deer legs, which were not there the first time Kylie walked the trail. The sun was going down.
Well, you know, honestly, I wouldn't be that afraid. I'm like, you know, maybe some cultists, you know, Satanists. You know, some people be doing that.
And after getting their pictures, they agreed it was time to head back to the car. But the more they walked, they realized they didn't recognize the path they were on. So the two start looking around for anything that could refresh their memory of where they were. But as it got dark out, the two accepted that they were lost. With nothing but their phone flashlights to navigate, they started getting the feeling they were being watched. As they picked up their pace, the two started to hear the trees and bushes moving at least 20 feet to their right, made more concerning by the fact that there was no wind that night. The two started to panic.
I hate that he's playing that shit in my ear,
hoping
bro.
it would take them back to Kylie's car. Just when things couldn't seem to get any worse, Kylie and Josh heard a scream so deep and horrific that it sounded neither human nor animal. The two
Like, we need to make it legal to carry it around like a katana or something, like a sword. It should be legal to be able to hike with a sword. Because realistically, like, if I had a sword with me, I wouldn't be that scared. I'd be like, it'll go from being like 100% scared to like 46% scared. You know, and that's considerable, right? That's pulling me out of pissing range. Like, that's pulling me out of shitting myself range. So, you know, I think that would make a big difference.
two sprinted down the trail, Kylie making a conscious effort not to look back, but Josh did. And Josh claimed to see a large black figure on the trail behind them, too big to be a human. The two made it to the car by some stroke of luck, losing whatever was chasing them. So they left the forest and went straight home. Upon doing research, Kylie found documents of common cult practices reported in those woods, as well as numerous murders and disappearances that happened in the area throughout the years.
Like, I know, like, I don't look up things about places I go to. This would be you and Day. Nah, if it was me and Day, right, we'll be walking. We'll be walking down the road, right? First off, what the fuck we doing out in the woods at night? But second off, we're walking down, right? Boom. Moment we heard, we're already running to the car. It doesn't matter if we know where the car is, we're running. We're running forward and eventually we'll make it to the car. And if I decide to turn around and I make eye contact to a giant black demon that isn't celebrating Juneteenth with me, then I'm like, either we gotta pick up the pace or we gotta fight. It's one of the two. Because in my mind, it's like, we can only run for so long. So if we're on this time limit, I'd rather use that energy to fight than to keep on running and get burnt out eventually. You know? Me and that, you know, they'll be able to, he got something.
Like Ethan and Danny in the first story, Kylie has not returned since.
Good shit. You know what? Round of applause to all the people that didn't go back. Thank God. Because I know most of them are part of the, you know, the Caucasian complexion. You know, so good on y'all, man. I'm so glad y'all didn't go like, well, I went back to look for clues, and I went back to go see if I can see it again. You know? Abandoned bunker.
Deep in the woods in northern Germany, two friends were hiking in an area formerly territory of the German Democratic Republic when they came across these strange periscope-like pipes protruding from the ground. Feeling either brave or foolish, they decided to investigate further. They discovered a doorway hidden behind several bushes, covered by a large wooden lid. What they found hidden beneath the ground is a pretty disturbing piece of history. The doorway led to a huge abandoned army bunker. There were several tunnels leading off in different directions, which intersected along.
The weird part is though, like, I do like going to abandoned places. Like, I've been to abandoned places before, and I kind of like it. Like, I love going to places that are kind of like frozen in time. You know, especially like old places, like from like the early 2000s to like the late 1900s. Like, it's so cool to see like how everything kind of get frozen in time. Like, even though it's gonna be run down, obviously, but seeing how buildings were made, or like how things that were normal back then for like architecture is not the same now. So like that's so cool, but I hate it. Cause me, like, we went to an abandoned place one time. I hated it. Like, it felt like it's like, you know when Spider-Man was in No Way Home and he was walking through and he's like, something is wrong. And he's like, wah, 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 wah. And he walked around, he's like, that was me the entire time. It felt like all of my ancestors was like, nigga, are you crazy? Nigga, are you being for real right now? And then we left there running because we heard some shit and I didn't like it.
Long central corridor. There were so many different directions to go that exploring the place felt like going through a maze to the two friends. They tried not to stray far away from each other in fear of getting lost. That's how big the place was. As they ventured deeper into the structure, they came across German writing on the wall, which translated to help. Curiosity still got the better.
I'm gonna give him a pass on that. I'm gonna give him a pass just because, like, niggas be trolling. Like, niggas actually just be trolling sometimes. Like, when I moved into, like, this house I'm living in right now, there's a door to the basement that's in the living room. And that basement is so fucking scary. And someone wrote, like, on the inside of the door, they wrote, hey. And I remember when I first moved in, I was like, that shit's haunted. Someone wrote, hey. Right there. That's a demon. I don't know why I thought a demon would get a Sharpie. I don't, like, that's on me. I'll be real. But, you know, sometimes niggas just be trying to have a little laugh.
Of them, and they continued deeper into the bunker. And as they did, the structure became more and more decayed. More writings were found on the walls. This time reading, "Hello Satan, I love you."
Okay.
Some of the rooms and corridors were flooded and smelled like sewage. They made their way into a very large room with a strange machine in the center. It's very possible the previous occupants had fled the bunker in a hurry, as there was a single shoe still stuck in the sludge on the floor. Why wouldn't someone have time to grab one shoe unless they were in a hurry?
I mean, do you even want it no more?
The structure was believed to be an old military bunker, possibly used for shelter by the Nazis during World War II. But why did the soldiers seemingly leave in such a hurry? And whether they were the ones who had written the warning messages on the walls is unknown.
Okay, I ain't gonna lie, this one was filler. This was a filler because the same paint that was used for the help is the same color as the peace sign on the ceiling. So you want me to believe that it started flooding, you know, the people who was doing this like, oh shit, ran out. It's like, wait, I know. Help. Wait, I know. Peace sign. So when they come in, they'll be like, oh shit, they need help. God, what are we about to do? Peace, bet. And then go to save them because now they know that peace is in their heart. Like, I don't know. This one was filler. This one wasn't that bad.
No.
This should have been the one that we started with. Duffel bag and wood. Now this doesn't seem fun.
In this last story, for the person's safety, I'll refer to him as just Bill. Bill is an avid hiker who in 2016 was visiting his brother upstate New York near Downsville. Bill's brother owns a small house and a barn up there, and from time to time Bill and other family members would go up to visit. This was in the late fall, and so the foliage was already mostly orange, and more than half of the leaves had fallen off the trees. Bill was hiking a narrow trail which was not far from his brother's place. This trail is in the middle of a very rural area, and it connects from the occasional property to property. So when Bill stumbled across a duffel bag on the ground in the middle of the woods, it was a surprise. The duffel bag looked like it was relatively new. It didn't look dirty as if it had been sitting in the woods for an extended period of time. There was a foul odor emanating from the bag, however, like something rotting.
Bill. Billy. William. So, set the scene real quick. You're walking, right? You acknowledge that you have tons of land between you and the next house. You're walking, you see a duffel bag on the ground, completely new, brand new JanSport, just laying on the ground. You start walking up to it, get with that, ooh, it stinks. It smells like rotting flesh. A dead carcass. An unliving being. What's your next choice, Bill? Because if you open that bag, you deserve what's coming to you. I'm calling the police immediately. The moment I smell that, ooh, police, immediately. Because what that look like opening that bag and getting traumatized? Because I want to be a curious little monkey.
Inside. Bill assumed the worst, but he knew he had to open the bag to see what's inside in case it actually could have been a person. He was
So you looked inside expecting it to be...
building up the courage to open the zipper to the bag, but before he could, he heard footsteps approaching from off the trail, and a voice saying, "That's mine, please don't touch it."
Realistically, like, what do you do in this situation? honestly, what do you do in a situation like this? Like, you go to open the bag and it's like, hey, that's mine. Don't touch it, please. Like, bro, what? Bro, this is why I get why people that be living in the sticks have shotguns. I get it. I'll be walking around with a shotgun too.
A large man in a dirty jacket and jeans was quickly approaching from the woods and grabbed the duffel bag off the ground. The two exchanged looks for a moment. Bill told the man he assumed the bag was forgotten by someone, and the man told him he was storing his kill from his hunt in the bag. Even though Bill isn't a hunter, he knew it's standard to use a cooler for storing fresh kill, not a duffel bag of all things. This also wouldn't explain the foul smell so soon, as usually dead bodies only start to smell after a few days, not right after death. So he apologized and continued walking down the trail, with a little more speed in his step. It's likely the man noticed Bill's nervousness, because he heard the duffel bag get dropped on the floor as he was walking away, but as he looked back, he didn't see the man anymore. Bill nervously continued along the trail, taking out his phone to try to call his brother for an emergency pickup by the road, but he didn't have any reception in the woods.
Do you know what I thought about? There's an odd correlation between non-black people and living in the fucking boonies. You know, there's a big correlation between those two, and I'm starting to realize why. Because if I was just walking by my house and this legendary interaction just occurred, and I pulled out my phone to go, let me call someone to come help me because I might die. I look at my phone, I see no bars, SOS only. I'm opening up Zillow, selling my home, buying a new one. Cause what the fuck? What do I look like? How do you go home after that? How do you truly go home and sleep in your bed after that? I don't want to sleep in my bed after I get into an interaction states away. This in your backyard, good sir. You might have to stop messing with white women. They're gonna have you camping in the woods. Fuck that. I can date a white woman without sleeping in the woods. Okay, I seen Get Out. I learned. I know the difference. I know the signs, right? If her dad's like, "Hey, it's nice to meet you," red flag. If her father's like, "You're such a good guy," red flag. You know, I can see him now. I can see him now. You know, I'd be damned if you take my body. Fuck that.
All he could do was press forward and avoid crossing paths with that man again. But as he continued on, he kept hearing leaves crunching from not far behind him.
This is why I said we need to be allowed to have swords while hiking. This is why. Because let that happen to me, right? Let me be walking. Let me be walking like here. I'm going to set the scene for you, right? I'm walking away, right? And I hear crunch, 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 crunch. I'm grabbing the sword. Whatever's behind me deserves to get cut. Whatever's behind me deserves it. It doesn't matter whether it's a bear, a deer, a person. Whatever's behind me at that point, you got too much room. I assume not. I remember a long time ago I looked at the laws like having a katana, and it was like I think it was like it wasn't able to be like open carried, which is weird because it's a fucking katana. So I don't know what you expect. Like, you expect me to be like Blade and have that shit behind my back and, you know. But I hope it is. I hope it's open carry, because if it's not, I might be fucked. I feel like you can have anything in the woods. You gotta have something. Like I have a walking stick that deattaches and has like a knife and like a harpoon and shit. Oh my god, I may be Jamaican, but I'm opening that harpoon part. I'm throwing that shit over my shoulder. You know, I can see the flaws in that though, because what if I miss and bro picks up, now he has the weapon? Yeah, maybe I shouldn't be holding the weapon in the forest. Maybe it shouldn't have been me.
And anytime he'd look back, the coast seemed clear. But eventually, his fear that he was being followed became real. He saw that man following him in the distance in a stalkerish manner.
I was just about to be like, you know, maybe he's paranoid, because I know I do that too. Like, you ever be like walking, and like you'd be like so paranoid that you think you hear something, but it's like it's yourself, like it's you stepping on the leaves, but you're like, oh, this extra crunch doesn't sound like it's me, but you saw bro just like peeking around the corner, like imagine right here. I don't know if I can pull this off, but imagine. You just join the stream. You join the stream, just my chair here. Just my chair, nothing else. My chair is just sitting here, right? And you open stream. And you've just been sitting here on like this idle screen for a minute. And you finally look over in this corner and all you see is this. Do you know how scary that would be? Like, I would scare the fuck out of myself. I would scare me. I might do that one day. I might just open stream, just be sitting in the corner hiding somewhere.
Hiding behind a tree. Without thinking, Bill started to run as fast as he could down the trail. He knew he was being followed without even looking back, because he could hear the leaves being crushed for not too far behind him. Bill came to an abandoned-looking property with overgrown grass, and having grown too winded to continue running, he attempted entry to the old house through the back door, and was able to get inside. Bill hid under a cot in the first bedroom he found, and he heard the back door open again, followed by heavy footsteps moving in a hurry. They went from room to room, and Bill could hear the man's heavy breathing from also being out of breath. The man's...
Okay. Alright. I don't want to be that guy. Right? But I need to see a photo of Bill. bro has to be like, if he's like 5'8", if he's 5'8", you know, 100 pounds soaking wet, then I'll give him a pass on this. But if he's like stocky, Bill, you might have to just fight this one out. You know what I mean? You might just have to put your dukes up. And also, you not saying his name, right? He didn't say his name because he was like, oh, for his protection. But like, bro already looked him dead in his eyes. He chased him. And then bro chased him right here, so he would know at like what area it would be. So hey, who knows? Maybe he just
footsteps came into the bedroom just for a second.
Maybe didn't have it like
right
that.
After. He didn't look under either of the two cots. Bill heard the back door to the house open and slam shut again, but he laid under the cot for another half an hour, not taking any risks. He only got up when he realized it would be dark soon, and he needed to get to a road to call for help. He proceeded to leave the house and run down the dirt trail by the house that was most likely once used as a driveway, which led him to a road. From here, he eventually hitched a ride with a passing car, who gave Bill a lift back to
Imagine it was him!
his brother's house, where Bill would call the local police department and report his encounter. Given the severity of the case, police would show up to the house to get a more detailed description of the man's face, the location it happened, and other information. Though it was never technically confirmed what was in that duffel bag, the rotting smell would already be clue enough. But the fact that the man so intently chased after Bill shows that he was hiding something that he didn't want any witnesses for, most likely dumping a dead body.
Yeah, man. So what I learned from this is that learn your laws, make sure you can carry a sword out there, and if you do, you better get ready. Like, I'm not saying like you just carry a sword just for the fun of it. I mean like, be on good time. Like, be like, I want you to be out there like your name is Zoro. I want you to be like, ting, 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 ting. You know, like, be ready for that. But yeah, if I ever go camping, just know I keep that sword on me. So everything about walking up on me, just know I'm ready to turn around and shink. God damn. I was horrible. I hated that for Bill.